G'day mate, and welcome to Kangaroo Communication. I'm Liv.
And I'm Zoe.
How was your day today, Zoe?
I'm just fantastic.
What'd you have for lunch?
Some Vegemite.
Oh, fantastic.
You did too, right?
Yeah.
So today we'll be talking about Enso.
What's Enso?
I'm glad you asked. It's the El Nino Southern Oscillation.
I'm just yanking your chain. I'm stoked about Enso. Enso is the changing ocean temperatures in the equatorial Pacific. Specifically, it is the warming of the tropical Pacific Ocean that occurs at about 3 to 6 intervals. Year intervals. Kind of crazy, right? In response to large-scale weakening of the trade winds. As the trade winds weaken during El Nino, so does the containment of the warm water in the west and the maintenance of the coolness in the east. As a result, relatively warm water becomes ubiquitous all across the Pacific from New Guinea to South America.
You may be wondering, what does this all mean for us down under?
Well, when El Nino occurs, it brings warmer temperatures and droughts to Australia.
During El Nino events, the ocean near Australia is cooler than usual, bringing lower than average winter to spring rainfall over eastern and northern Australia. Although most major Australian droughts have been associated with El Nino events, widespread drought is certainly not guaranteed when an El Nino is present.
For more on this, let's go to our field reporter, Mo. How are you doing, Mo?
Thanks guys, I'm out here in the outback to show you some of the effects of El Nino firsthand. Normally, lower pressures over Darwin and higher pressure over Tahiti draws warm surface water westward and brings precipitation to Australia in the western Pacific. El Nino becomes a threat when pressure difference weakens and Australia begins to experience drought, while South America experiences flooding. If you can't tell, it is pouring rain right now. El Nino occurs during the months of June to November every 3 to 6 years. It can last anywhere from 9 months to 2 years. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mo. Now let's check with our weather expert. How's the weather during El Nino, Liv? Well, it's all kinds of crazy, Liv. Normally, Australia's climate is pretty dry with an average yearly rainfall below 600 millimeters over 80% of the continent, and below 300 millimeters over 50%. The climate is around 86 degrees Fahrenheit during the summer and 59 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter. The temperate south has cool, wet winters and warm, dry summers. In the north, a tropical climate prevails with a warm, dry season and a hot, wet season. There are also inland deserts that remain very dry most of the time. But when El Nino rolls around, there can be reduced rainfall, warmer temperatures, shift in temperature extremes, increased frost risk, reduced tropical cyclone numbers, later monsoon onset, increased fire in southeast Australia, and decreased alpine snow depths. This means higher temperatures and sometimes extreme droughts. An example of this was back in 2009. Victoria's highest maximum temperature is 48.8 degrees. Oh, I'm very sorry. Victoria's highest maximum temperature is 119.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. It was recorded in Hope Town on February 7th, 2009, during the 2009 Southeastern Australian heatwave. In 2009, the Enso was leaning towards El Nino and most likely had a hand in the droughts and high temperatures. Back to you, Liv. Thanks, Liv. You're a truly awesome weather woman.
Now let's turn it over to Ellery and learn about the effect Enso has on our culture.
Thanks, guys. El Nino doesn't really have much impact on our culture, given that we are a first world country, and so we have a high resiliency. But it does contribute, as well as over cultivation, to the desertification of the interior of Australia, which causes people to live on the outer rim of Australia. As far as its effects on agriculture, El Nino has an average of 12.6% decline in agricultural GDP. And beef represents 17% of agricultural production by value and experiences a production slowdown during the phenomenon. It really won't affect Australia's economy, as agriculture is only 2% of the country's overall GDP. El Nino also could boost non-farm GDP due to the lesser amount of storms and weather disruptions that would inhibit mining production or increased electricity consumption. How can people prepare for this event? Farmers can plant different crops during that time that would be more suited to the weather patterns that will occur. As Australia is a developed country, it would be equipped to handle the natural disasters that may occur, such as forest fires, droughts, or crop failures. Media can accurately inform the public on the events and how to prepare. Thanks, and remember to vote for me for whatever thing I'm running for in the next election.
So as you can see, Enso has a pretty wicked effect on Australia.
You know it! Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on Kangaroo Communication.